Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast, Gamer Thoughts. Today, we are going to be going over the game Doki Doki Literature Club. I am Matthew, and here's my co-host, RJ.
Hello, everybody. As you said, we're going to be talking about Doki Doki Literature Club, one of my favorite games ever. I'm really excited. This is a podcast that I had an idea for as soon as we started it. This was one of the ones I wanted to do pretty much immediately, so I'm glad we're doing it. So we're going to start off this podcast by just kind of talking about our thoughts without spoiling the game, for people who haven't played it, because I feel like that's kind of important, because this is a game you have to just go play, and if it's spoiled, it kind of ruins it.
Yeah, this is a game where you need to have full attention to it.
Yeah, and I'm super lucky because the game came out in 2017, so I'm super lucky I wasn't spoiled.
Yeah, I had never even heard of the game until you told me.
I don't know how. It was super popular when it came out.
And
very
Markiplier
popular.
and Jacksepticeye both did series on it.
Yeah.
And I never
quite a
even
few
noticed
YouTubers
them until I played the game myself.
Real quick, I'm just saying, if you ever feel like just watching a playthrough of this, do you watch the Game Grumps?
I've never even heard of them.
I don't know how, man. They're the funniest people ever. But their playthrough of this game is quite possibly my favorite playthrough of any game ever.
Really?
It's a super good series. I recommend it.
Yeah, I guess I'll check it out.
Yeah. So spoiler-free thoughts. You go first. I'm curious, to really hear your thoughts.
So, like you said, you're gonna try to do this just totally spoiler-free.
Yes.
Now, man, okay, so everybody who's listening to this and will probably know that the game isn't exactly, I'm not gonna say anything, but it isn't exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
And
not at all.
I think the idea of the game is really, really cool. How they thought to make this game was awesome. Totally make you make it seem like one game, and then it turns into the exact opposite of another one. I definitely enjoyed playing the game a lot. I know that, of course, you like the game a lot more. And I loved the game and everything. There was nothing bad to say about it. I liked it a lot.
Nice. Yeah, my second favorite game of all time, good for me. Just because the game, in my opinion, it was good before, the first half of the game was good, but it's not what it's before stuff happens.
Yeah.
That's how I can say that, I guess. And I thought it was good just because the characters were fun, it was fun to go through.
It was pretty cool learning about all the characters, just kind of figuring out them and everything and the way they are. That was cool.
Yeah, and then I'm such a massive horror fan.
Yes.
So seeing the game go into a horror game, and that's pretty much all I could say, but it goes horror, and
yeah.
So seeing it do that is the greatest thing ever to me. And I think it has some of the best scenes in any game I've ever played when it goes like that.
Now, I am not one for horror most of the time, but for this game, I would make an exception because I think the thought of the game taking it from something that seems so happy and nice and then turning it into something so dark and awful. I just think, the way that they did it, like I said, I would make an exception because it was very well made.
It was. And also, though, I feel like if you're talking about this game, you kind of have to say, the game is disturbing. So if you're not into that, don't play the game because it gets seriously disturbing.
If the music isn't going to get you, the scenes are.
God, the music is... Oh, God, I love the music in that game.
Yeah.
So out of 10, what would you give this game?
Okay, before I give my rating and all, I do want to know that when I'm rating it, it's actually really, really good. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I think the game is amazing, but I would probably rate it like a 7.5 or an 8, and like I said, that's actually really, really good. I'm not putting the game down at all. I think it's a very good game. I'm just doing that because somebody who's not like the hugest horror fan, I think for a
Yeah.
horror game with me, I think it was one of the best ones that I've ever played.
Yeah, I'm not like one of the idiots who thinks 7 is like the worst score in the world. I think that's a good score still. If I give something a 7, it's still a good whatever I'm talking about.
Yeah.
A good game, good movie. I give it a 10, a 10 out of 10, and it's one of the few games I'd ever do that to.
Yeah.
Because I only give a 10 out of 10 to the absolute greatest games I've played. So
Yeah.
I think aside from Undertale, this is probably the only other game that I'd give a 10 out of 10
Wow.
to.
Do you think that this game is ever going to pass Undertale?
Probably not, because probably not, because I think the good stuff of this game is way better than the good stuff in, not way better, but it's a bit better than the good stuff in Undertale, but Undertale just has so much of it, and the entire game is like just an absolutely wonderful game, so I don't think it will.
Okay. Because I know that you have been talking about how you absolutely love this game, and I just had to know.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be as good as Undertale to me, but man, it's wow, it's good.
I've got to play through the whole game of Undertale, and then we can do one on that game as well.
That one would probably be like 3 to 4 hours, man. I have so much to say on that game. I can talk about that game like I can no other. It's insane.
It would be awesome. And I played like 20 minutes of the game, and I liked it.
Dude, I couldn't recommend that whole game to anyone enough. Like, no matter what game you like, I think you can find enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Back to Doki Doki.
Yeah, back to Doki Doki. Is that about it for no spoilers?
Yeah, I think so. I think
okay.
We went through everything.
So would it be... I would recommend this game highly if you have not played it already.
Yeah,
for some reason.
I would recommend it too. I know. I think it would be funny because my sister's into like the anime stuff and everything a lot, so I would recommend it to her. Tell her to play it without telling her anything, and then see how she would feel about it.
That's like real quick. Back to a little off topic. Again, the Game Grumps. That's what I loved about their series because neither of them have played the game, but it's like 2 people. And one of them knew that something was going to happen, and the other had literally no idea. So it's just kind of because I knew something was coming, you knew something was coming. Like, it's kind of cool seeing someone's perspective that had no clue anything was going to happen.
Yeah, that would be insane. Like, I was preparing myself the whole game for the scene, like how you said it. So I was ready for it, but I couldn't even imagine like not being ready for that, and then that just happening out of nowhere.
Yeah, God, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't played it, stop listening and go play it before you finish this, because
spoiler
the rest of it is gonna be packed full of spoilers. This entire thing is gonna be.
And it's free on Steam, so
it's free. So I mean, is there really a reason not to play it?
And it does not need a good new computer. Also, if you have like a crappy laptop. You can literally there's nothing stopping you. You can go do it now.
Yeah, it run like my laptop is absolute garbage, but Same. It can my laptop struggles to run Cuphead sometimes. So, and that game is very great looking. Well, it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's not like Red Dead 2 or anything.
Yeah, but this game ran flawlessly. So. Go give it a try.
Yeah, so no excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. Go play it. Okay, so that's your last warning. Get out. So the game is broken up into 4 different acts. Act 1 and 2 are the longest of the game, and Act 3 and 4 are much shorter. But we're going to just go through them and start on Act 1.
There we go.
So what was your thoughts just opening the game for the first time and seeing the title screen that you saw? What were your first thoughts?
Okay, first thoughts of the game. I was like, how are they gonna make this a horror game?
Uh-huh.
I was like,
Man.
because when I had listened to your podcast that you made about horror games and everything, and
Yeah.
before that, you even had talked to me about the game, told me how much you loved it, and told me how much you wanted me to play
Yeah.
it. And just thinking, how are they going to make something that looks like this into something so awful? Those were my first thoughts.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? Oh man, I just had something that I seriously wanted to say. God, what was I gonna say? I have no idea. If I come back to it, then
Yeah.
I'll have to say that again, man. Um, but yeah, the even if you go to the trailer and everything, this title screen, like they all just look so innocent and
Yeah.
oh god, yeah, you wonder how they're gonna actually make it into a horror game, which is neat.
I think they even, like, in the description, in Discord, in the description, I think they even have the thing where it's like Monica talking, and
Yeah, that's the
it's,
description to the game.
yeah, Monica talking, and everything that she says, it just seems like a nice thing where she's like the.
But oh yeah, real quick, I'm sorry to
Mm-hmm.
cut you off.
You're
To
good.
talk while I'm doing this. Were you gonna say anything?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that. For some reason, I thought you were gonna say something. But all I was gonna say is that even like there, it's just Monica talking, and it seems like everything's fine. Like it's just a normal thing where it's the literature club and everything. So they, like, in every way that they could, they made it seem like it was just gonna be like this sweet innocent game. You wouldn't know unless somebody told you that has played the game or heard about it, or if you played the game yourself, because they didn't make it seem anyway.
Yeah, but going to the description, and it's cool because like it says that this game isn't suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed, but you still
Yeah,
don't really know what's going on
I
at
know.
all.
If you had never played the game, saw that, and then for the first, like, what is it, almost 2 hours or something of the
Yeah,
game, you would think that, why is it like that?
yeah. But reading the tail end of the description after playing the game, it like loses a completely different meaning. Listen to this, okay? Okay,
Okay.
I'm super excited for you to make friends with everyone and help the literature club become a more intimate place for all my members. But I can tell that you're already a sweetheart. Will you promise to spend the most time with me? And that's it. And it's just like,
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh.
because after you play the game, it's just it doesn't feel
Then,
good.
yeah, then you will 100% understand how that is, what that means.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh,
Okay, let's actually get into the game because we still have not done
okay.
that.
Literally, we have only
We're
got to the
20.
title
We're
screen.
almost 20 minutes in. God, this is gonna be long probably. But
Yeah.
so starting the game, I'm going purely off of memory here. I could probably pull something up, but I don't feel like
Yeah,
it right
I'm
now.
100% off of memory as well.
But the game, so I'm probably gonna miss some stuff because there's a lot that goes on.
Yeah.
But the game starts out and you meet Sayori, one of the characters, right? And you're going to the literature club.
Yes.
And then you get in there, and it's 4 girls who have completely different personalities,
Yes.
and it's set up like an anime-inspired dating game. That's what it is. That's what the game is for a long time.
That's exactly what it is, and the way it is, it's like it would be a game that so many people would love like that. Like, they could have made that just a game, and I feel like it would have been popular for a lot of people who like that kind of game.
Yeah. And I think a strength that this has, because that is not my kind of game at all, and I usually can't stand those kinds of games. I just don't like them.
Same.
I always think the story is, boring, that kind of stuff. I just don't like them at all. But this game is different because I feel like the characters don't suck. Like, they're actually good characters.
I know.
Which makes the game better by far.
By the way, like, the way it is, you're put in a situation that will probably never happen in real life to anybody.
Oh yeah, no.
It's
no.
never, like, that'll never happen to anybody.
Never will that ever happen.
No.
And I'm gonna touch on this later, but I just want to say the music in this game is awesome. Like, it's just awesome. Even just the nice and bubbly, happy music. It's really good for setting up the
It
feeling of
is.
the game, you know.
Exactly. Like I'm one of the people that can think that um music like the music in a game, in a movie, in a show, anything like that can set the tone even better than what's actually going on. Like it can
Yeah.
give you a major feel and everything. And that's one thing that this game did very well.
Yeah, whether it's horror or whether it's a dating game, this game really sets it up good with the music.
Right?
And okay, I'm just gonna say this is probably gonna be the section that we talk least on, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't feel like there's too much to say.
Mhm.
But so you get in, and for the first 2 hours of the game, it's just, you going around and, meeting all these characters, getting used to them, knowing their
Yeah.
personalities, pretty typical stuff. And then you get to go home and do a poem mini game where you get to pick words to,
Mhm.
you pick a different words to put into a poem, and your words, like, I
Which,
don't know,
can I be
the different
100% honest
characters
with
like
this
the
poem
words.
thing real quick?
Yeah.
Like when I did it, what I did, I thought it was funny. I don't know if anybody else has done it like this, but I like closed my eyes and I just randomly selected words without looking at them. Like I just spammed
Oh
all
God,
around the screen
dude.
and just clicked words randomly because I was
Wait,
like,
who
I
did?
don't want what?
Wait, no, keep talking.
Oh, okay. And so like I said, I just closed my eyes and did it randomly because I didn't want to just go through read all the words and then was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. Just click, 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 click all around the screen until I got all 20.
Okay, so the poem game direct like that affects who you end up with, like who you
Yeah,
start spending your
yeah,
time with. So who did you spend your time with?
it
How did
ended
that
up
end
being
up?
Natsuki.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would just randomly click,
Um,
and that's how it happened.
huh. So who's your favorite just from this section? Who's your favorite
Well,
character?
because I never really spent a crazy amount of time with Yuri, I would say it's probably equal between Sayori and Natsuki
Yeah.
because those are the two most. Definitely not Monica, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
And
definitely not Monica.
Yuri, also one thing, I feel like even if I like ended up spending more time with her, I still feel like I wouldn't just because she always seemed depressed to me. And
Y-
it just
Yeah,
that was one thing that always made me feel bored at times was when every like if I ever once in a while did it, it just always seemed like she was so sad about things.
yeah, Yuri I liked a lot at first, but then as it went on, I was like, I prefer Sayori as a character much, much more. She's my
Yeah,
favorite.
and she was the one who confessed about being depressed, but she was always
Uh-huh.
happy, you know?
Yeah, I think it's really cool how they like revealed that though.
Yeah.
Um, do you want to just move on to that since there's not a
Okay, yeah.
crazy amount to talk about?
Yeah, there's
Oh, real
nothing
quick,
really much. It's yeah.
the foreshadowing in this first
Oh
section
my
is
gosh, we
real.
were
Like it's
just thinking of the exact same
crazy.
thing because I was literally about to say that. Like the
It's
amount of
like
it's every few scenes or almost every scene there's something that is said or done that is foreshadowing what is going to happen in
in
like the future.
and before you know what's going to happen, it doesn't seem like much. It seems normal. But then once
Right?
you actually go back and think about it, it's like
It makes so much
something was going to
sense.
happen.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Especially with Monica.
Oh my gosh.
And like the crap when she did her writing tip of the day saying to save your
Hmm.
game, like talking to the player, telling them
Yeah,
to save their game,
that was one
that
thing,
sets up
and
some.
yeah, and then also the playing piano and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that was awesome, but we'll get to
that
that
was one
later.
of the
That's like one
coolest
of my
parts of me.
favorite things.
Yeah, but this is one thing that I'll just say right now. We'll probably maybe talk about it later and everything, but I think things that like break the fourth wall and thing, I find that really enjoyable. There are things that can do it too much and just make it not fun,
Uh-huh.
and then make it feel like it's not like an actual show by themselves. But when they can do it a good amount, it can make it seem so cool because it's like, actually interacting with you in a way, but not. in like an
That's
excessive way, and they
why,
did that pretty well.
yeah, that's why I love Deadpool a lot, because he breaks the fourth wall not too
Yes,
much, but just the right amount.
exactly. One of my most favorite
Um,
parts when, sorry, this makes no sense with the game or anything.
yeah.
One of my favorite parts in it is when uh a Juggernaut, and I can't think of the other guy's name, they're about to get into a fight, and he's like, "You're gonna want to watch this. This is about to be a big CGI fight," and like,
Oh
but yeah,
yeah, I
but yeah,
love crap
that's
like that.
yeah, I find it really enjoyable.
And it's ironic that my two favorite games. I don't think it's counted as a spoiler, but I mean, for a different game, but Undertale and Doki Doki Literature Club, my two favorite games, are two games that break the fourth wall and mess with the files.
That is cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it's considered a spoiler for Undertale to say it breaks the fourth wall quite a bit near the
No,
end,
I
but
don't think that's not really a spoiler at all because they're not telling you how it happens or what is said or anything.
yeah, it's super amazing how it happens. Like, one of the best parts of the game, but I
That's
love
really cool.
fourth wall breaks.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So as you go on the game, they're like, Sayori's usually really happy, and then she comes into class that one day like really down, you know.
Yeah.
And Monica goes over to her, says some words. Sayori gets up and leaves. Basically, that's pretty much how that went down. And then later in the game, she reveals that she is depressed. So
yes,
that's fun.
Which, just that was one of the crazy parts where I had a feeling that things were gonna happen soon because then when she starts talking about like different things, and I don't know if this is fast forwarding like really far or anything, but then when you get to the point where like she's confessing her love to like your character and everything, but she's talking about how she's depressed, and then talking about how she feels good but she still like hates everything, and
Yeah, and what?
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's just seeming like she's nothing is gonna help her feel better.
Yeah, and I really like the idea that she's just wanting to make other people happy, and that's why she's happy around other people. Like, she just wants everyone else to feel good, even when she doesn't, which is cool.
Yeah, it really like makes you like her a lot, like that character.
Yeah, and then okay, so she confesses her love, and pretty much it's whatever choice you choose. The next scene is going to happen. And kind of like you said, nothing can help her. Which is kind of an awful feeling, but
right.
Okay, so you go to bed, you do the whole poem thing, and then you go to school, and you don't go to Sayori's house in the morning.
Oh my gosh!
And you go to Monica, and she. Okay, I don't know if you caught up, like, noticed it, but she says, you really left her hanging this morning.
I noticed that afterwards.
Dude, my stomach dropped hard when she said that.
I didn't notice that until afterwards. And another thing, I didn't notice that like Monica knew everything that was going on, and like when you would ask, how do you know that, she's like, well, I'm the club leader, of course. Like, yeah, there was only, you wouldn't know that unless you were literally watching or something. Like, she knew everything that was going on at all times.
Did you see the Happy Thoughts picture?
No, maybe I
You
saw
did not see the happy. Oh my god!
Maybe I saw it, but I didn't notice it.
I've got to go get that real quick before we continue. After she confesses her love and whatever you tell her, I have it pulled up. I'm gonna send it to you. It is. The game puts this in your files, and it's terrifying. Like, because she just confessed her love. No matter what you say, this will pop up. Okay, it's sending, so we're going to give this a minute. But it pops up in your files, and I was seriously creeped out hard.
Oh my god.
Did you see that?
Yeah. I don't know why I never even noticed that.
Yeah,
Whoa.
God, it's so creepy, because that's right after she says that, and the file name is just Happy Thoughts.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah. Ugh, I hate it. I hate it so much, but I love it. Um, so Monica's
So
got
yeah,
her jokes
happiness.
saying you really left her hanging. Um,
Yeah. And
and
then
then you go to her house.
yeah, you're eventually like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? I should have never did something
Oh,
like that.
yeah, and there was the poem saying "Get out of my head, get out of my head, get out of my head."
Oh my gosh, that was that was one of actually the creepiest parts of the game for
Yeah,
me.
and it's
Was
like,
that part, and it's literally
yeah,
it's like that's when you know that's the beginning when you know something's up and the game is starting to change, and that happens, and then you're like, what the heck? Why didn't I go and check on her in the morning?
yeah, and if you look at the poem, like it says, one of the things, like it's a theory I have. They never come out and say it in the game, but one of the lines in the
Yeah,
poem is, "Get out of my head before I do what she says is best for me," or something like that.
yeah, I
She's probably talking
noticed
about
that,
Monica.
and that was where that was one of the times because I went back and forth between Monica and Yuri, who I was thinking was like the mastermind behind everything, and
Yeah,
that was when like I was confirmed that I was like for sure that it was Monica. I further on think that it's Yuri for a second, but then yeah.
yeah, because like, and yeah, okay, so you go to her house and you're like about to go in, and I think this scene is maybe the best scene I've ever seen in a horror game.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, this
it's
scene,
a
oh,
oh,
it's gonna be embedded into my brain for the rest of my life.
okay, so it's a black screen, and you're going and you're just like reading the text. You're going through her house,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
And so with the black screen, it really lets like the tension build up, you know.
Yeah.
Which I think is important for jump scares is you need to have a build up to it or it's not
Yeah,
impactful.
seriously, like you go in and it gives you like a good like 20, 30 seconds before like the scene actually happens.
Yeah, that's my problem with a lot of new horror games that are coming out. Is just like they're jump scares, but they just are things that pop up out of nowhere with no meaning, you know what I mean? So it's not
Yeah.
too scary. But okay, so it's like you go up to her door and it's like I gently open the door and then Sayori's hanging.
Yeah.
And
And isn't it like the screen stays black and you first say like, "Oh my gosh," and then it finally goes to it.
I don't know, it might, yeah,
But
something like
I'm
that.
just trying to remember, and it's like your character like reacts to it before you see it, so you're even more like ready for it,
It might,
like ready for what's about to happen.
yeah. And then so she's hanging there and like the music is awesome.
Man,
Probably one of my favorite parts of music in the game. Um, it's like a twist
seriously,
on the main theme of the game and like all
yeah,
distorted and like there's a weird like
yeah. This
singing
is the
voice.
beginning of like the game starting to get like all glitchy and everything and messed up.
Yes, God, I love it. And then
Which after this, it happens pretty frequently, and every single time it's just as like weird.
yeah, but this is a jump scare. I'm gonna be honest. So when I'm looking around YouTube, I've like watched a couple different series on it, and no one has quite had the same reaction as me. Okay. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
like there was a couple that jumped, but most of them were just kind of shocked. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it wasn't like a jump. This I've never in my life had a jump scare that affected me like this one. Like it was a
Oh
special
my god.
case. I was watching it
Now.
pretty late at night, and it was just such a shock, and I didn't want it to happen at all, even though I kind of expected it. And it got me
Mm-hmm.
good. It got me real good.
Yeah. um, I guess like I can kind of exactly relate to it the way that it was for you because I was sitting at my laptop. It was late at night, all my lights were off and everything, and I was just playing the game because I had no clue exactly when the like scene was coming.
Yeah,
I knew that it was coming eventually, but I didn't know it exactly, and I knew I was going to her house. I was expecting maybe something like it wasn't going to be like her dead or anything, and it wasn't going to be made to that extent. So when
yeah.
that scene happened, I about pooped my pants, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, I either got to shut this game off close my eyes through the whole thing. But I was like, wait a minute, I can't miss this. I gotta watch the whole thing. So I watched the whole thing. Then after that, I just stopped. I watched the scene, and then for like an hour straight, I just sat there in my bed thinking about like that scene and the music and the way everything was, and like I was saying, it's gonna be embedded into my brain for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and it's one of the few jump scares that actually got a noise out of me. It wasn't a yell, but it's one of the few times that's ever happened, because I'm pretty fine with jump scares. I'm not affected too much because I played too much.
Yeah.
But
now with me, I didn't make any noise because it was later at night and I was trying to stay quiet. So I was like making sure to myself that I wasn't gonna say anything loud or anything. But like my whole body felt like crazy hot. Like I got a heat flash and it felt like my stomach went like down to my thighs. It was one of the worst feelings ever, because like the scene, it's like itself, it isn't like there's like some spirit or something trying to chase you or anything. It's like not like the worst scary thing that could ever happen in a game.
yeah,
But the way that they made it, like how we were saying, the music and how like glitching back and forth, and how this is where it actually starts to become awful.
yeah.
That's what makes it so like bad.
Yeah, like in Outlast, there's people hanging all over the place in that game. I kid you not. Like it's everywhere, and you get used to it. So it's not like a terribly scary thing, but this game just makes it that way.
I think that's another thing that made like the people who made this game like geniuses. I think that they, for 2 hours of the game, it was made to be nothing scary or anything like that. Then, so that means when it gets to the horror part, it's so like it catches everybody so off guard, and when you're playing like say Outlast and everything, you're gonna be used to it, you're prepared for it and everything, because you know it's gonna be a horror game. You know what's coming, you know everything that's gonna be there. That like for this game, you're not necessarily prepared for it, even if you know it's gonna happen. You still have played for so long with it being fine. That's what makes it like so genuine.
Yeah, and like Outlast is terrifying, but it's nonstop horror, and so it never gets that reaction out of you, you know?
Yeah. It's just like, oh, this is gonna happen, and I've already been through this and everything like that.
But it zooms in on Sayori, so you really get to get to see it, and then
you get a face full of it.
Yeah, and then it shows in the background that one of the files were deleted.
Yeah, that's the first time you see that.
Yes, and if you go to a character folder in the files, Sayori, like it has the 4 characters. It's like Sayori.chr, Yuri.chr, like that, and Sayori's just kind of gone. Not there.
Yep.
And so the game restarts, goes back to the main title, and Sayori's glitched out and not there.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you start the game and it tries to work with Sayori in it, but then it realizes, that can't happen because she's not there. So it just restarts and does the story on its own without her.
Yeah.
Which I think is really awesome. That's a super cool idea.
When it first started, and like after Sayori had died and you were restarting the game, I thought it was about to be either a brand new character or it was gonna be like Monica or something that was gonna end up being like the neighbor.
Yeah. But now you just kind of get to school. Monica tells you about the literature club this time, and she's starting to glitch out. Everything's starting to glitch out a bit.
Yes.
From this point forward, the game is a glitchy mess, but in a good way. So you get to the literature club, and for a while, things kind of go as normal, I guess, as normal as it can be. Do you have?
It's just seeming like a more normal game after everything that had happened.
Yeah, but then some things start happening, like the characters get blacked out eyes and mouths and start saying some really
Yes,
creepy
oh my
stuff, you
gosh.
know?
When like the text would start like turning sometimes to gibberish and everything, and
Yeah,
like I said, like I was saying, at one point, at some points gibberish, and then at other points, like they'll be saying one thing, then it's like they get overtaken by something else, and then they start saying like the exact opposite in like the bold black lettering. That
yeah.
makes you feel really eerie.
And since you like Natsuki, I'm sure you saw this scene. I think there's a way you can't see it, but there's a scene where she's like keeping she's telling you she has to keep her manga in the closet, and then it just completely switches. Instead, her dad will just beat her if she takes it home, and
Yes.
it's like,
Oh
oh my
my gosh.
god.
Yeah, and then there was like a moment where her neck snaps in half at one point, and then
Oh,
another time where her face it goes missing, and it looks like in Avatar where what's his name, the face taker, I can't think of his name now, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, when he that's what it looked like. She got her face stolen.
Uh-huh. Um,
Ugh.
but And then there's the scene that's honestly kind of hilarious and creepy at the same time, where Yuri and Natsuki just start swearing at each other back and forth.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
It's
that
an
was.
enjoyably creepy scene. Like, I love it
Yeah, it was
because it's
because
kind of hilarious.
yeah, once for the most part, like during this, after the game restarts, of course, there's like the glitches and then those messed up things that are happening and everything. But for the most part, the characters are still like more normal than if then they're becoming now. So then when that
Yeah,
starts happening, this hadn't happened before because like before there was a fight scene between them two, but it wasn't like this. Then this one they start
yeah.
fighting. Oh my gosh. And then
Um, and then
this is.
Monica. This is where what?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna let you, but and this is where then Yuri tells like Monica, "Have you ever thought about killing yourself?" And that was when
God,
this was where I thought that Yuri was the bad, like the evil person behind everything, because I thought that
yeah.
was like something the game was doing, talking about like killing yourself, and then Sayori killing herself. So I thought it was gonna be something like that, but then things happen.
Um, and then Monica. I don't know if you really noticed this. It's kind of I don't know. It's a thing to overlook over everything else going on. But Monica says that it's fine. Like she pulls you out into the hallway and says it's fine that they'll forget everything by the
Yeah.
morning, and then the next day everyone forgot everything. Like it's
Hmm.
just kind of it never happened.
Yeah, like like the file for that that night was deleted. So
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, and
um,
then wasn't that when like after that you step out of the hallway, and then isn't that when like Natsuki goes running out and then run out of the room, then running away or something?
yeah.
Okay.
Um, so then the next day is the day where everything goes horrible.
Oh my gosh. This is when another like basically like I guess this is more like a 90-degree turn rather than a 180.
Yeah,
Because it was already getting
but
kind of bad, but this is where it gets really bad.
yeah, it's the scene that's kind of the same where you have to pick someone to spend your time with for the festival, except Monica's controlling your mouse, which is amazing to make it go to
Oh
her,
my gosh,
which I
that
think is
was
awesome.
so hilarious. Because
And then when
at
you, oh, what?
oh, I was gonna say at that point it was when I had already chose Natsuki for the like at the first time to hang out with for the festival or whatever. So I was gonna do Yuri that time because I hadn't done it before, but I couldn't choose either of them. So I was like, well, I guess I probably spent like 3 minutes just seeing if I could find a way to at least do one of them other than Monica.
Well, there actually is a way. You just have to fight it hard. Like it's difficult because the
Oh,
mouse pulls so hard towards
yes,
Monica.
seriously.
So if you really sit there and try, you can hit Yuri.
Mm.
But if you do that, so you didn't see any of this. If you do that, it's one of another creepy scene because it's like the entire screen goes white except Yuri's eyes. That's it. It's just Yuri's eyes.
Oh my
It,
gosh.
on top of a white screen, and then the entire screen fills up with Monica, and you have to pick one of them because that's the only thing on the screen is just things to pick Monica. So then you pick
Yeah, I
Monica, and
didn't do
she's like,
that.
"Yay, you picked me!"
Oh, wait a
Um,
minute. I did
yeah,
do that. I thought, like, that's exactly what happened to me. But I thought that that was what happened when you clicked Monica. And I thought that, because that was still when I thought that Yuri was the evil one. So when those eyes popped up, I was, like, convinced it. And then Monica started popping up everywhere. So I thought
yeah,
that that's what happened when you clicked Monica. I had no clue. So I actually did do it.
yeah. Um, so then they get in a fight saying that Monica's abusing her power, which she
Mm-hmm.
is 100%.
Yes.
Um, and she's mad that everyone's saying that, but then she says, "Okay, fine, Yuri, just go ahead," pretty much. Um, and what is that in the background?
That was my dad.
Oh, okay. Um,
Sorry.
it's fine. So Monica basically says, "Go ahead, Yuri." Have the character. So then, if you look, I don't know if you saw this either, but this is another time where a file is added to the game, and it says "Have a nice weekend," and that's it. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing.
because I
Um,
mean, you do have a pretty nice weekend.
so Yuri okay, so do I have your permission to put a clip from this podcast in my video? I assume
Oh
in a
yeah,
video that I'm
definitely.
making. Okay, so I'm making a video on Doki Doki Literature Club and why it's basically talking about why the twists are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I just want to say, Yuri, I'm going to starting here, I'm putting this in my video because I think it'll be kind of funny to hear. But
Mm-hmm.
Yuri stabs the crap out of herself. And
Oh my
my
gosh.
reaction, everyone's reaction that I could find on YouTube was like, oh my God, what's going on? This is so messed up. Like, just in
Literally,
shock.
I
Tell me
think
your reaction.
I
Wait,
think
real quick.
my reaction is the exact opposite of literally everybody else's,
Yeah, I
because
want to hear.
I actually looked at other reactions from that as well because of how mine was. Now, how when I was leading up to everything, Yuri sitting here confessing her love to you, but in the worst way possible.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
like literally the creepiest, the worst way. Nobody wants to hear any of this. Like, when Sayori did it, she did it in a way that like you didn't want to say no, you know.
uh-huh.
And then so now Yuri's doing this, and she, like I said, she was doing it in the creepiest way and everything. So I feel like almost everybody is gonna say no. So then you say no, her face totally changes, randomly pulls out a knife and stabs herself 3 times. And
Yeah.
me, I different from everybody else as I know, I just busted out in laughter.
You busted out in laughter.
I like died of laughing, and I don't know if that's wrong or what, but I just saw it and I couldn't help but laugh.
No, I don't think it's wrong. I think you're just showing light psychopathic traits.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I could only find like one other reaction online where someone even like cracked a joke because most of them are just people like just in shock, but you just bust out laughing, which I think
Because
is amazing.
I don't know why, but it was just like, so do you love me? It's like, what would anybody say after hearing all of that? No. And all of a sudden, Ivan stabs herself.
Yeah.
uh,
God.
I don't know why,
Um,
but I just couldn't help but laugh.
I thought that's kind of funny. That's going in my video. You saying that you're a psychopath, pretty much.
Yeah, basically. I mean, one in every 200 people is a psychopath. So,
Yeah, sure. That's
in like a popular public school, there's a good chance that there's like 2 or 3 people in that school that is a psychopath.
yeah. So after that, you have to sit the entire weekend with messed up text
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
and as she like the life drains from her, she gets pale, her eyes pale out.
Hmm.
Um,
Now, did you
and
like just spam click for the longest time?
no, what? I held
You,
control, I'm pretty sure. If you hold control, you can skip text.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I was meaning. Like,
Did you
did you
spam
spam?
click the whole time?
No, I was meaning like that's what I was meaning. Like, did you just spam to skip the whole time?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
I thought you meant
man,
that
it
I
goes on
hit the
for
same button a
forever.
million times.
Like,
That would be torture. I feel so bad for people who didn't know there was a skip option
oh
because
my
it would take
gosh,
forever to
it says
sit and hit the
skip
skip
under
button.
the text.
It does, but there's some stupid people. I don't know.
But
Um,
oh my gosh, it goes on for forever. I mean, it goes
fun
on for the
fact.
whole weekend.
Yeah, it does. Fun fact. There is some people who actually found out how to decode all the gibberish that
Really?
was in that scene. And guess what it is?
What?
It is the Steam description for the game.
Like
So,
actually?
yeah, actually,
Oh
like
my
that's the
gosh.
thing. Some
Now, I
people,
don't know whether to think that that is amazing because that must have taken a good amount of time to make gibberish, like make that into gibberish, or if that was them being a little being lazy or not wanting to make actual like text for it.
I'm
It could go
surprised
either
anyone
way.
found it though. I'm shocked that
Seriously.
the people were able to decode it. That's like
I
seriously
I
impressive.
would have never been able to do that. I don't think I'll ever be that smart.
Yeah, no, no, me neither. Um, so then the weekend is finally over. It was very long, and Natsuki burst in the room and she's like ready. And this scene honestly makes me really sad because she's just ready to go for the festival, you know?
I know, like
She's
she
like
forgets
actually happy.
everything about the day before.
Yeah, and I just like I want the like half of me wants a full game of this game that is just a normal game because I want the characters to be happy. I want them to be
Right?
okay.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like I'd want to see how that would play out because that's before like everything before other more things are changed. That's the last time you see her.
Mm-hmm. So then Natsuki throws up, and to you, that's one of the most disturbing scenes in the
Oh my god.
game is when she
Yeah.
throws up and gets it all
Now,
over.
like I said, the first one it was more like creepy and like just off-putting or whatever. But that
Yeah.
one, I don't know why, but it was just weird. Like she comes in like all happy and everything, then just looks over and just barfs everywhere. And
Yeah.
it just was like at that moment, it was so disgusting.
Um, so then Monica comes in. She's like, oh my, that's so awful. Like that really
I know.
stinks, guys. That sucks.
That was when I 100% confirmed and just knew. I was like, this girl is evil.
Yeah, and then she's
Like,
like,
oh
hold
man.
on. Yeah. Then she's like, hold on just a second, I can fix this. And then she
Yeah,
goes and
deletes
you can
them.
see
Oh
how
my
she
god.
deletes Natsuki, and Natsuki was the only normal one. Natsuki was
I
the
know,
only one
yeah,
with a
at that
brain
point
with
into the game,
sense.
she was the only one that actually seemed like it tolerable to be around.
Yeah, because earlier in the game, and on one of her poems, she tells you to just read it and pretend it's a good poem, but she's
Oh
warning
yeah,
you
we
about
didn't even
Monica.
talk about
I
that.
forgot about that. It's a
Yeah.
poem warning you, or not a poem, it's just a letter warning you about Monica to stay away from her.
Yeah, and like talking about how like Yuri is like starting to act really weird and she's concerned. And it was like, oh dang, like this
Yeah.
is actually happening.
Um, yeah, and I feel so bad for Natsuki. She did nothing, but she got deleted anyway. So that
I
sucks.
know. Like she just walked in seeing her dead on the floor,
Yeah.
barfs, and then gets deleted.
Yeah, man. Um, okay, so next, the game, that was Act 2. That's completely Act 2 of the game.
Yeah.
Is leading up to Natsuki and Yuri getting deleted. So then the game restarts again, and this is kicking off Act 3. where it
Mm-hmm.
is just Monica, and that's the big thing. It's
Yep.
just Monica in a room with you.
And this
That's
is
it.
where you find out that literally the whole purpose for the game was meant for you to end up falling in love with Monica. But somehow, like she said, she purposely put in these characters for you to absolutely hate and not care about at all and only fall in love with her. But somehow it ends up that you end up falling in love with one of the other three every single time. So then
Yeah,
she has to delete them all and make it just her.
yeah, and it's like she says that she pretty much made herself perfect and made them have flaws, like Yuri cutting herself, Natsuki's.
Yeah.
I guess you would say it's like her home life and
Temper.
all that, and her temper. Because
Yeah.
she kind of hints toward a couple of things that's like going on, with her dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So
mean, my dad will beat me.
yeah, um, so and then Sayori's depression, obviously.
hmm
And I feel like the characters having flaws makes them more realistic and makes them better
Yeah, it
characters.
makes them more likable.
Exactly.
Somebody who's just perfect in every single way, you don't really like them as much because it's not as easy to relate.
Yeah, and Monica's kind of a boring character up to until she starts messing with
Yeah,
stuff. She's just a
exactly. Like
bland
I didn't
character.
care for her at all.
Yeah,
Whenever like I would always either do her first or last in the poems because I didn't really care about doing anything with her.
yeah. Um, but I like how that was the intention. Like that, she tried to make herself perfect, but it just kind of didn't
Yeah.
work out.
And that's like I swear that that's like a hidden message. The game being horror and all, but it's like a message talking about like having flaws can actually make you more likable than being a perfect person.
I never thought of that. Yeah, that probably is. Um,
Like some kind of hidden message that was put into it.
yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm reading too far into it, but
No,
I
this
just
is a
thought
game
that.
you have to read too far into.
True.
You
True.
can't not read far into this game. So Monica, uh, this will go on forever. She will forever just kind of sit here and talk to you.
Right.
And the fun fact, I know neither of us was recording it when we played it for the first time, but if
Yeah.
you're recording through OBS, then she will notice. She'll run through and notice that you're recording. And
Oh, yeah, I went afterwards I went and I like watched a Markiplier's one on it,
yeah,
and I saw that it's like I like hello fans and everything. Man,
yeah,
that is weird.
and then she does a jump scare for the camera. Like, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
she's like here, and then like nothing happens for the longest time, and then finally does it. Oh my gosh, it was
Yeah,
that was really cool. I liked how that happened. Another breaking the fourth wall thing.
yeah. And then she says that she's not talking to your character; she is talking to you, like, and she says
Yeah.
your name, which is really awesome.
Yes.
And again, this is kind of funny that this is like the biggest thing that Undertale does to break the fourth wall is looks at your computer and find your actual name. So, hey, games got stuff in common.
Yeah.
But she does that, and she kind of just goes on and on about how it's going to be great, and it's just her, and it's just you. And then, how long did it take you to like think to go into the files and do something?
I actually ended up looking it up
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was thinking that there's something, and that was where I actually went to Markiplier's. I looked at his last one where he was with Monica, and
Yeah.
I looked at that and I saw that he did it, so then I went and did it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I kind of picked up on it without looking it up because I had the files open because I was told like that's a big thing, and
Yeah,
I
I
realized that
had no
characters were
clue to do
deleted.
that.
Yes, and I saw that characters were being deleted. So like I was like, what if though? And that was
Yeah.
actually the answer.
Yeah. No, smart thinking. And with him, I don't know if Markiplier was thought anything, but he just thought totally on his own. He was like, wait a minute, what if I do this? And I was like, oh, that's so smart. So then I went and did it.
So you delete her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm in pain, please." Oh no! But then
Yeah.
she kind of comes to her senses, and again, it makes me sad when she does because I want this to be a normal game. because she gives
Right.
you the game back without her.
Without her. And then she starts talking about how she hates you.
Yeah. But she gives the game back to you without her, and that kind of made me love Monica as a character like a lot, like her a lot more.
Yeah, it made
Just the
me
whole
actually
ending.
feel bad
Yeah,
for her.
I like how she's a super bad villain and everything, but the game makes you feel bad for her.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, man, I cannot believe that I would do something like this to somebody that I love, and then,
Yeah.
deletes herself.
But okay, so then she gives you the game back, and the game is really nice. It's a really fun time, you got all your characters
Mm-hmm.
back except for the one that ruined everything, and then everything
Exactly.
gets ruined again because Sayori's the club president, and club president
Yup.
knows all pretty much, and it's always doomed to like fall into the same thing.
Yup.
Man, that sucks. It makes me
Yeah.
sad.
Like it makes you think, the game can be literally perfect, everything can go the way you want it to, and then, death and despair.
Yeah. But then Monica comes and saves the day and literally deletes the whole game, and
Yup.
that's that.
And then,
Um,
yeah. And then, okay. Yeah, but that's like literally the end of it. She goes in and deletes it. And I think, one thing that is really cool, a good idea that they did in the credit scene, is where they went through and showed a bunch of pictures and scenes from it. And there's a lot, because you can like make the game go totally different ways depending on what you do. That's why you want to like do different things with saving it, which I saved it so much, but I never had to use it once. I never
yeah,
literally used
same
it
here.
once. And
Yeah, because
but
whenever I
it
play
lets you
any game, I'm
see.
always paranoid and saving.
Yeah. Yes, especially after No Man's Sky. Oh my gosh. But
Oh my god, yes.
but at the end, where it shows all these pictures of these different scenes that you didn't see because you chose different things, it makes you want to go and do it again to see like all those different scenes. Like when this scene where, like when I picked Natsuki for at the very start for the festival, and there was like a scene where like you went and baked with her, but then there was the other scene with Yuri where like I guess you go and talk all depressed with her and everything. I don't know for sure, but that's what you said. And
Yeah.
but it makes you like want to at least just see what that is. So either you want to go and watch a
Oh,
YouTube video on it, or you want to go and play it yourself.
yeah.
So I think that's really cool. And then I don't know, I don't want to steal everything about talking, but then the just piano thing at the end, that was awesome.
I loved it.
Okay, now you can say what you want. I feel like I hogged that a lot.
Oh yeah, I forgot completely to talk about the weekend where you go visit your person. You want to double back and was there anything interesting to say about you and Natsuki doing your stuff? Was there anything that happened like relevant?
Well, but I basically like what happens. You go and you bake a thing, and it's like literally seeming like what would be in like a love movie or something type thing. Like you act like you get in a fight, you act like you hate each other, but then you end up like actually loving each other type thing, and then like I think they start like putting icing on each other, and then like your character like takes their finger and takes it off of Natsuki's face and licks it, and then like it gets really awkward, and then they like fall in love again, and then they're about to kiss, and then Sayori like busts in and comes at the worst time.
Similar thing happens with Yuri, except you don't hate each other because Yuri is not a character. If you go her way, you don't hate each other at all.
Yeah.
But instead of icing, you lick off her finger. No, she cuts herself and you lick the blood off, and it's just disgusting.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That
no,
just made
thank
me feel
you.
really weird. What?
Yeah, but it was disgusting, but the scene was really important because it was a lot of depressing stuff, a lot of awkward moments, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why that was my reason why I never wanted to pick her, just because it was always seemed so depressing.
Yeah.
And with
um,
Natsuki, yeah, there were times where you would fight, but it was always like fun, I felt.
yeah. Um, but then there's a huge thing of foreshadowing in Yuri's thing because she says how she has a knife collection and she loves knives. She loves knives, right? She thinks they're
Yeah.
beautiful. And there's one time going to get water and you come back because you're doing like arts and crafts, so you need water for the paint,
Hmm.
I think it was, or
Yeah.
something like that. And you walk in and she like hurries up and pulls up her sleeves, all secretive.
Hmm.
So just stuff like that that kind of hints towards what's
Yeah.
coming. So I just thought that was awesome.
Yeah, and throughout the whole thing, she talks about how much she loves horror, and the game is a horror game.
Yeah. Um, but okay, where were we?
We
Credits.
were at the end, and yeah, I was talking about the credits, and then talking about how with the piano, and then at the end, where like Monica then ends up singing like her song for you, and then ends
Yeah.
up revealing why she's been spending so much time practicing piano, and then
Uh-huh.
she like sings her song to the tune of the game, like the game tune.
Yes. God, I love it. I love that
Yeah.
last. The credit scene is amazing in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, it's just such a nice ending to a
Yeah.
really messed up game.
Yes, it is a like I guess you could say messed up ending to the ending of the messed up game, which then
Yeah.
makes it like a perfect ending.
Yeah, yeah. But God, what was I gonna say? Um, God, what was I gonna say? Um, why do I keep forgetting what I'm talking about pretty easily? Um, but I like how it shows her with the pictures going through and deleting it because she's deleting the whole game. So as it's showing you them, it
Yeah,
just kind of starts
that
deleting
was
them.
really cool as you're going through, like it shows them and then deleted, and yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Okay. This,
Yes.
aside from Undertale, is the only time, because I love this game so much. Aside from
Hmm.
Undertale, this is the only time I have felt really emotional during a credit scene.
Really?
Yeah, I was depressed, but also really happy at the end of this. And I was just like, yeah, I didn't cry, but I was like right there at it. Like if it would have went on longer, I probably would have. I was
Yeah.
getting there. Probably
I
just because I
felt
love the game so much.
I felt as if they could have made like the first half of the game where it was all happy and everything into like an actual anime, like a show, and people would watch it.
I bet they would, yeah. That seems like something
Because
people would watch.
yeah, I mean me, I would never because I wouldn't really get into it. But it
Yeah.
seemed like something that I've seen before.
Yeah. I honestly, after playing this game, I would probably watch it if they just decided to come out with it now. I would be like,
True.
yeah,
Now
give me some
because
more Doki
I've
Doki.
played the whole game and they made that a show, I would definitely watch it.
But if they tried to do horror in an anime, like a show or anything, I don't think it'd be nothing like the game because it
No.
has to be a game. It can't work in
Yeah.
anything else.
They couldn't I don't know. I feel like because the way like they were able to make things look being a game, it was like I don't know exactly how to say it, but it was kind of like a standstill game, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't anything that had to do with like moving around crazily or anything.
Oh
It
yeah.
was just, and
Hmm.
they were able to make that work so well. It would be weird if they tried doing that horror in like a
Yeah.
show where you have to show like all angles and everything
Yeah. And I
and the
think it's a big
movement.
part of the interactivity of being a player because fourth wall breaking straight to you to saying your name and everything with going in
Yeah.
and messing with the files, stuff like that. It just kind of loses a
Hmm.
part of the game.
Yeah.
Um, you talking about standstill, this is 100% off topic, but talking about like a game that's like, doesn't have like animated moving and all that.
Yeah.
One of the only good things to come out of Xbox is the Xbox Series X game showcase thing they did. It was really not great. I was super
Yeah.
disappointed in it. Halo Infinite looks so okay. It looks like the most okay game I've ever seen. Just nothing
Yeah.
special, just like more Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Which, I mean, I could get into it because Halo is, like, I like it. It's not my favorite. I like it.
Same. Yeah. But honestly, the graphics, I know the game isn't out yet, but it kind of just looks like Halo 5, the graphics,
Yeah.
which is
So, like, not
disappointing.
awful, but not as good as it should be.
Yeah, like the next game they showed, State of Decay 3, that game looks incredible in terms of graphics. It looks like super good, but Halo
Yeah.
didn't. But anyway, what I was gonna say, before we got off topic, is that they're coming out with a new game that's going to be on Game Pass on Xbox One or no, I think it's just going to be on Series X and PC. But it's like you would call it like a standstill type game, um, from some new developers, and like it's
Oh.
not animation type thing, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and people were so mean to it during the live chat. Like the
Oh,
dislike to that
wow.
game's trailers are so bad, and it just makes me sad because that's one of the only good things I thought was in the whole thing. And I don't feel
Yeah.
like people are going to buy it. I think it's going to really underdo what it
Yeah,
should.
I will definitely, if I can't watch it, like, see if I could play it or something, because
Yeah,
I think it would be cool. I'm one of those people that I hate, like, judging a book by its cover or something.
yeah,
I actually want to see it for myself before
uh,
I don't want to base off of what I think about it over what other people say, because I might actually love it.
yeah. One last thing about the showcase. This is the last thing, and then we'll go back to the game. I just want to say this somewhere.
Hmm.
But I'm such a massive fan of the Evil Within games, and I'm afraid
Yeah.
that there's never going to be a third one because the second one undersold. Like it didn't sell as well as they were hoping. So there might
Yeah.
not be a third one, but it ended on a cliffhanger, and it's amazing, and
Oh
everyone
my
needs to
gosh.
play it.
That's the worst when stuff like that happens. They end it to where they should make, like, they are planning on making more, and then
Yeah.
they don't. Like, either it gets like, even with a show gets canceled, or don't make enough
Uh-huh.
money, can't make a next one or something like that. It's the worst.
Yeah. But I mean,
Because
it's
then you kind of
Bethesda,
just
so
have to, yeah.
they have the money to make it, but it didn't do well, so they're probably scared of it making it. But
I think
it's like,
the worst that could happen is what happened with the second one. And if they made money on it still, then, I mean, it's not bad.
yeah. But the second one's one of my favorite games ever, and I'd just be so
Oh,
sad
wow.
because it's like of a huge cliffhanger. And watching the the State of Decay series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't care about the State of Decay. I don't think they're bad, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. And one of the creatures from that game looked straight out of the Evil Within, so I was like
Oh,
pumped
wow.
up, right? I was so excited. Then it showed State of Decay 3, and I wanted to crack my laptop. I was so
Oh,
sad.
my gosh. I can only imagine you feeling like that.
Yeah. But anyway, Doki Doki Literature Club.
Time to get back what we're literally here for.
Yeah. So credits are, I think, I keep bringing up Undertale so much, but it's my two favorite games, so it's hard not to.
Yeah,
But aside from
definitely.
Undertale in this game has the best credits of just any game. It adds something. It's not just, boring text moving with music,
Mm-hmm.
Both of those games during their credits do something cool with it, which
Yeah.
I like. So that's pretty much the four acts of the game.
Yeah. I
Now we're just
think
going to
we
talk
even,
about. Oh, what?
yeah, I think we even went over, like, different, like, thoughts and everything. Like,
I think we did.
we did pretty
But
good.
I do want to say, I think the music, I didn't talk about it enough because I think it's so good
Yeah.
for the game. I think it's perfect. And the horror music, like when they start getting into that, it's some of the creepiest,
gosh.
it's the creepiest music I've ever heard in a game, period.
Yeah.
Specifically Sayori.
Yeah, like when we were talking about it earlier, it literally, like, the game itself is awesome, and, like, with the scenes they can do, like, they did really well, but the music is what gives it so much of the character. And I mean, like, it even shows it at the end there, where they literally take the end as Monica singing the song, her song to you. Like, it just
Uh-huh.
shows how much the music is involved with the game.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna slap in a little bit of. I'm probably gonna put in a little about it. Just put it in so like
Yeah.
people know what we're talking about. Because this game, you need to hear it. It's super cool. But
Mm-hmm.
so our last thing here is brief summary and final overview of our thoughts. Uh,
Yep.
so pretty much just a summary of your thoughts on the game, and we don't have to worry about spoilers. Oh my god.
I have no clue what just happened, but we're gonna act like that didn't happen, I guess, because I don't even know what happened.
Okay.
But,
What? You there? Hello?
hello.
Yeah, hey.
Okay. So, I guess if I were to do brief thoughts of the game and everything, it would kind of be like how it was before, but with being able to do spoilers and
Uh-huh.
everything. And like how I was saying before, I'm not like the biggest fan of horror games because I'm not like a crazy person for horror like you are. But
Yeah.
like I was saying, for this one I would definitely make an exception because I think it was very well made. Like, they did it very well and in a way that I think many people can get into and be okay with it.
Yeah.
And they kind of did it perfect with all of the scenes, like we had said. I definitely enjoyed the game a lot, and me giving it a rating of like 7.5, 8 is not bad at all. I enjoyed the game a lot. I wouldn't put it up there like you did for favorites because, just like what I was saying, but it would definitely, it's my number one for horror games. I'll say that for myself.
Mm. Yeah. It's my second favorite game ever, if it wasn't for Undertale being a masterpiece, then it would be my favorite game ever because I think everything that it tries, it does perfectly.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much a perfect game. There's nothing I can say bad about it.
Yeah.
And me loving horror, I was like 100,000% in on it when it just kind of turned and did the full 180
Mm-hmm.
twist. I was completely on board, and I was with it. And I'm just really glad this game got made. It's such a unique game. It's the most
really
unique
is.
game I've ever played.
It is. I've never even thought of a game like this one, but it
Yeah.
was made, and it was definitely one that was really cool. And I think that if other games, even if they're not made as horror, just any games, can take from this and make different ones, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah. And this is a game that was made by a. Were you there? What was that?
Yeah. Oh, I just unplugged my phone from the charger.
Oh, okay. But this is a game that was made by not a big team at all. Like, it was a really small team who worked on it.
I cannot stress this enough. I swear, smaller like game developing companies make the best games. Really,
They do. Recently, it's been incredible.
I know. No, like big companies, other than if it's games, like big companies can work really hard on games and make good ones. But just lately, it seems like a lot of big companies are just like getting lazier and only care about money and not necessarily like enjoyment of the people who are playing their games.
Yeah. Yeah, like think of all the good games that's come out recently, like My Friend Pedro, this, Undertale,
Yes.
Cuphead, Celeste. There's just so much good stuff.
There's so many good stuff, and they're all from ones that nobody ever have even really heard of.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yes.
I love it. But I'm super the main dude behind this game, Dan Salvato. He was like the person who did the most work on this game.
Yeah.
And he's such a cool guy. He's a Twitch streamer. He's a speedrunner.
Oh, wow.
Which is awesome. And it's because I love speedrunning and Yeah. He speedruns old Nintendo games, which is right up my alley.
Yeah, that's literally perfect for you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, he's like a big Mario Maker dude. Like he has a
Wow.
bunch of levels on there.
Yeah.
It's just crap like that. He has his Twitch channel is awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm probably gonna go check him out. What's his name?
yeah, Dan Salvato.
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely have to check
He's
him out.
he's just a cool guy, and that's the only game where I've actually saw someone in the credits and be like, I'm gonna go see what they're about, and they're really cool.
Yeah.
Um, so do we got any other thoughts on the game?
I don't. I think we did it pretty good and went over everything and good thoughts. I mean, like there was no bashing this game unless if you you absolutely cannot stand horror or the beginning part where if you think like that type of stuff is annoying. But
Yeah,
there's really no bashing this game.
I will say the only complaint I don't have this complaint, but I could see this be a thing, is that the beginning takes too long to really get somewhere.
Now,
Because it kind of does, but I like that. I liked
me
that.
personally, I thought that was one of the best parts that I thought of it was having that it build up for so long only
Yeah.
to fully switch on you. I thought that was one of the best parts of it. Was that?
Yeah, that's one of the most common complaints that I see, is that it takes too long, but I think it's good for like the build up and for the characters, like you really get to know them.
Yeah.
So
because it makes it so much more I guess emotional for you to see everything two of the characters die, then others get then the characters get deleted, different things like that, everything changes.
But I had a blast talking about this game. It was a good time. This game is wonderful.
Yes.
Please play it if you haven't. I mean, you shouldn't be at the end of the podcast if you haven't, but I couldn't recommend this game enough.
And then another thing, I feel as if say you haven't played this game yet and you're listening to us talk about this, I feel like it would only make you want to play it even more, so you can choose the way it goes for yourself, and just see how it plays out for you.
Yeah. If you literally can't play this game, please watch the Game Grumps. I swear, I can't believe you've never heard of them. They're one of the bigger channels.
It's weird. I've never heard of them.
Man, they're the funniest dudes on this planet. But yeah, that's it for me. Anything else you want to say?
I think that's pretty good. I guess I will just end the podcast off with what I'm just saying and everything. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who listened in and listened through the whole thing. If you made it here, that means you listened through the whole thing, and I just appreciate the listening and everything. And I hope you guys tune in for more, because we just have so many more ideas and so many more thoughts about different things. So just keep staying tuned and listening in.
Yeah. Like you said, thank you for listening to our podcast. It's been a blast doing this so far. I have no idea which podcast this is. This is probably 5 or 6 or 7, so it's probably coming up on 2 months maybe soon.
Yeah, I think as of tomorrow, I can't remember exactly. As of tomorrow, it's a milestone for something, but I can't remember.
Okay. But yeah, it's been fun doing it so far. I've enjoyed it a lot. And go check out our YouTube channels if you're interested. We do very different videos, but I mean, you can find enjoyment out of them. And that's about it. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, thank you all so much.